What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Stack and Solo. Appreciate you joining me for another video here this month and checking out what's going on in the world of silver. So today I'm going to be discussing the silver prices between January 2025 and January 2026. What has changed? Kind of throw a few examples of some silver pieces out, show how the premiums have changed, and kind of go through all that. So let's get into it. All right, so January 2025, silver was sitting at, according to my notes, somewhere around $30.50 an ounce. And then jump forward to today, whenever I checked this morning, we were sitting at $94, just over $94 an ounce. So a super, super large increase. I mean, 3x your money almost in terms of investments. So why is it that silver has jumped? Well, one, we talked about many times before. It's got to do with just the cost of everything. So inflation. With inflation going up, obviously the cost of everything going to go up, including premiums on silver, cost of silver, and so on and so forth. You've got debt levels in the U.S. are absolutely atrocious. Everybody just saw the credit card total debt spent around Black Friday of 2025, and just kind of feeds into the overall overspending culture that we've kind of created here in the United States. So you got your debt, you got your global tensions, which everybody knows right now. You could pretty much just throw a dart on a map and almost pick a conflict that's going on, unfortunately. So absolutely has to do something because bullion is world tide, not just U.S. And then the devaluation of the dollar is that's a big thing that I think needs thrown in there. It goes with the with inflation, with cost of inflation, but it also has to go with the U.S. national debt. It has to go with what countries are using, trading, and backing their currency with the U.S. dollar, which is less and less each day. So a lot of things that goes into that. Goes into the changing of the price, as well as the industrial demand, which we've all went into, and then the supply, which is where it currently comes into. There's a higher demand than what there is supply. So you remember middle school math. We've got our little alligator here. We've got supply on this side, and we got demand over here. And everybody's wanting it, but there's not enough supply. Well, then they're gonna jack up the prices just because they know they can. We're gonna continue to buy it, and so it just creates that cycle until we start pushing away from silver or bullion or whatever it is. Whenever we have more reassurance in another format of economic safety or certainty, then we'll be able to switch. But right now, the demand is way higher than supply, and so it just automatically tells you that they're going to control the costs, they're going to control the prices, and they get to name them because we are asking for it. So those are three main reasons, or a combination of reasons as to why silver has jumped. But really, what has it jumped in terms of how can we each understand it? So I figured the best place would be to literally start with just some silver. So we'll start right here with a beautiful 2012 Year of Dragon Australian round. So last year this was selling for anywhere between $45 and $55 an ounce. Right now on APMEX you can go and you're going to pay $145 for this brand new. Absolutely crazy. So why is this 2012 1 ounce coin at $140, $150? I cannot honestly tell you, other than the rarity, the look of it, because it is just a beautiful looking finish on it. But whenever I look this up, extremely surprised to me, but that's just the whole thing. Start checking out some of the pieces you guys might have, because I knew that silver was up, obviously, but I definitely wasn't thinking that this has jumped up into it. So premiums play a really big role in terms of, well, what we're willing to buy, what we can buy, and what we're choosing to buy with it. So the history shows that premiums don't change. When silver increases, the premium's increasing. It's staying at a pretty steady percentage in terms of when you're multiplying it by X, or whenever you're decreasing the value, the premium tends to kind of flow in the same. What I've noticed, though, at least on the places that I've been watching people buy, the auctions and stuff, people are wanting weight. We want stack. We want silver. We want a couple ounces of rounds compared to a couple ounces in a single stacker. And it's because of the liquidity. It's because what you can do with it. I feel that is a cooler and absolutely solid piece. Same amount of ounces as two of these. Looking at it, this is so much more valuable, especially whenever you look at, we talked about economic uncertainty. So whenever you look at any sort of uncertainty, it's easier to flip, change, extrade, and bargain with a single ounce round or fractional silver than what it is a 2 ounce that's shaped like a dragon's head that also just happens to be a stacker. So you really get your differences in that. Now the second one I'm moving on to is this 2 ounce dragon stacker. If everybody can see, I'll throw a good picture up over it so, the light's not reflecting off of it. But 2 ounce dragon stacker. I bought this. It was probably sitting around $120, $125 an ounce in value. Right now, I'm seeing them for like $250, $240, which is, looking at the price of silver, 3 ounces in it, got $180 in silver, $190 in silver, plus a $50, $60 premium on the piece itself, which kind of makes sense. Premium stayed about the same, did increase a little bit as the price of silver has increased, but that's expected. Not surprised by that at all. But very, very cool. Now, this last one I'm going to show you, I want to talk about premium because it shows the array and the variety that you can have. So this is a 3 ounce gilded maple leaf. So what that means is that it's actually, instead of having the design come out to where it's almost a 3D feel, it's actually impressed in the maple leaf is. So the die presses in on the silver and then they inlay this gold right here. So it's a gold inlay with this leaf. But just a 3 ounce stacker. Very cool piece to have. I don't know what the cost was or what the value was whenever I bought it. I've had this for a few years now, but whenever I just went on and checked online, these are reselling between $500 and $700, relisted. To be resold, of course, that is with it being graded at perfect grade and everything. That's where that value comes into. But the coin itself, you're buying it, you're paying $220 to $250 for, if you can find them, and that's obviously with the box and COA and everything. But a huge premium whenever you add on the fact that it is graded and it gets that perfect grade. It literally doubled and possibly tripled the value of this coin alone. So I know there's no way this was worth any more than probably $300 last year. So to see it double in price as well, as your weight goes up, it's just making me assume that the premium's still going to increase, but you're going to get incremental losses as you do go up. But overall, what an investment piece. Absolutely sick to have. Absolutely sick. So the next thing that I want to talk about is really like what has happened within this last year on top of the price changes, or what has the price changes done. And so it's been a mindset shift from what I've seen. The reason I started getting this silver is the exact reason why I see everybody in it today, and especially in the last 6 months, at least start paying attention to the prices. So the first thing is going to be your hedge against inflation and loss of valuation of your dollar. So in the 2022, we were sitting at like an 8% inflation rate in the United States. It's every year it's been something. Right now we're sitting at just over 3%, which is really good in terms of, where we've come from, but it's still a loss of value for us. And for a lot of Americans, we're not getting an increase in wage, or we're not getting, an offset of living costs, an actual offset of living costs. So whenever you take the inflation into it, and you look at the way the world currencies have been trading, the US dollar is just not backed. It's just not, it just doesn't have the weight that it used to, we could say. And so silver and gold is just a guaranteed way of holding value, having value for yourself. And even if all things go kaboom, that little bit of silver or gold that you have, it's going to stay there. So that was a big thing. Another thing is the industrial shift. Yes, if the industrial demand decreases, absolutely we'll see a lot lower price. And also we'll see an increase in just inventory, just the amount of silver that's actually out there. The problem is with where we've transpired since 2010, or how we've went since 2010, the demand for silver industrially is only just going to increase. It's used in everything that is popular and common right now. Solar energy, EVs. It's in most electronics because silver is the most conductive precious metal that you can have. So its value is just astronomical, goes across the board. I'm sure there's 1,000 industries that use it, but the point is that there are 1,000 industries that use it. So the industrial demand and necessity, I do not see decreasing, which also makes sense as to why that probably helped to increase the price there last year. And the biggest thing is that it's seen as an asset, which I guess is the overall point. For me and for everybody that I talk to, being able to hold on to this comparative to holding on to a $20 bill, you just feel safer for some reason. Yes, in my area, this is 10 times harder to get rid of. I don't have any local coin or bullion shops near me, so for me to offload and dump, it's going to have to be a special occasion and a high value sell. But for a lot of people, it's still there's just something about this that gives me reassurance. I got value 3 ways to 1, especially whenever it comes to premium bullion. 3 ways to 1 in saving yourself, from the design to the mint to the silver itself, and then on top of the actual, if you get coins. So this one is actually worth $1. This one is actually worth $50 in Canada. So you could go and spend this coin is $50. So you're just able to kind of assess where you see the value at and kind of head towards that area within bullion. So the mindset shift has really just been an appreciation, I think. It was very silver and bullion, especially over the last few years, that I've noticed is extremely underappreciated and undervalued. And this past year has really showed that there is a need for it, there is a use for it, and there's most certainly a desire for it. So it's been really, heartbreaking to see the prices increase, while also reassuring that I knew what I was talking about when I got into it, and I got into it at the right time. So very interesting. So though we have a 200-300% price increase over the last year, oddly enough, I don't know if we'll be topping off at $100 an ounce. High cost scare buyers, we know that. That's why I didn't really buy much last year. A lot of the people that I talked to didn't. Only the ones with serious investors and serious money to invest have been able to keep it up as it was. But the hardest, or the biggest lesson, I guess, not hardest, but the biggest lesson to take away is that silver is hard to predict. It's extremely volatile, extremely cyclical. So many things influence it on a day-to-day basis, let alone a year-to-year basis, that it's hard to track or predict more than, I want to say, 3 months out, unless you have some insight on, anything going on globally that may influence it. But silver stackers, I know that they're smiling with the prices. I am, even though I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm smiling. It's very cool to see, very interesting to see, especially now, acknowledging kind of some of the price increases, premium increases of some of the pieces that I have, let alone that are just out there. It's really crazy. That has been this episode. We've kind of talked about the 1 year difference. You've seen the prices. We've talked about the premiums. We've talked about the risk to my personal mindset shift, how I think other people have, and just maybe some small things as to why silver has increased. If there's anything I've missed, please put it in the comments. Please let me know. I want to correct myself. I want to be as educated as possible, and I want to be putting forth some good, valuable information, no matter how base level it is. I want to leave with a question for you guys. What is your guys' opinions? What do you think silver will hit spot value from today to the end of the year? What do you think the high is? Do you think we'll come down? And I don't know, just give me your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. I'd love to read them.